Hello, everybody. I'm Alfred, and the song we're about to listen to and watch is "Stop the Hatred." It's by MC Jane and Wyclef. So let's check it out.
Rain love on me. Rain love on me. Open up
You
your
see that Asian hate crimes are on the rise. Asian hate crimes are on the rise. So this is the timestamp. Let's see what's year. So May 12th, 2021. This is just after the 2020 year of the BLM riots and all the chaos. The year that George Floyd died and all of that. So um, MC Jim being an Asian, addressing this Asian hate crimes on being on rise. The interesting thing is that the people who are committing these hate crimes are African Americans. But I'm guessing that that is not going to be highlighted in this song. The blame so far that the mainstream media wants to push it on is on white people. Oh, it's white supremacy. White supremacists are going around attacking Asians. No, it is African Americans. And of course, if you listen to a lot of the African American BLM rhetoric and the Minister Farrakhan's kind of rhetoric, that's angle. They hate Jews and they hate Asians, and they blame Jews and Asians for basically having money, power, and buying up neighborhoods and owning the stores in African American neighborhoods and all that kind of things. It's just a whole different world of conspiracy and all kinds of talk and topics, and spilling in all kinds of so-called reasons of why African Americans should hate Asians and all of that. But let's see how the song goes.
on me. Open up your eyes and finally see.
My grandma passed away at the top of last year. At the funeral drowning cause I couldn't hold back tears. But after all that's happened this past year, part of me sees grace in the fact that she's not here. As a grandson, this statement's a fact. No elderly should ever be victim of such a heinous attack. Prey on the weak, only cowards would take advantage of that. No more staying meek, it's time to take a stand and react. A simple trip to the market, thought the streets were safe. Turn targets, I speak up for my people's sake. From this pandemic, I'm hopeful that we'll see escape. Until then, love's the only vaccine for hate. Now when my folks leave the house, it's quite the norm. My mind's flooded with thoughts of what might go wrong. Truthfully, I wish I didn't have to write this song, but it's only right I recite it since this mic is on.
What if we went a little bit out of our way?
In as much as the rhyme, the message is on point when it comes to what he's saying, but his avoidance of the African American issue and the media pushing all this, because all these things that have been happening is because of the media and because of this push to let us demonize Trump. So therefore, let us demonize Trump supporters and let us attack them. The visions in America have been amplified by CNN. There are people who say that Trump divided the country. No, it is the CNN, the MSNBCs, and all of them, by trying to lie constantly and trying to push everything Trump says as, oh, it's divisive. And then the full clips comes out online and it's a different story. This banning of Alex Jones, banning of anything that is on the right, banning of ON. Oh, you are a celebrity. There was I believe a guy involved with the NFL who won OAN shirts, and he was criticized for that, and he had to give out an apology. What is that? This push for only one side of the news, only the leftist news, and pushing that rhetoric and whatever they say, that gives them a lot of opportunity for propaganda and for really destroying things. And that is what the left has been doing. They have been, by demonizing all Trump supporters and, by pushing all this white people are evil, white people are racist, all this kinds of nonsense. Now, this song, has an element of strong hypocrisy to it, because it's not talking about the struggles of white people. As long as you do not address that, you are not going to address the problem going away, because the amplification and the reason behind this is because you are helping the same people that started this. The reason behind the Asian hate, the violence that Asians are seeing on the streets of New York, especially, is because of the leftist media, machine. It's because of what they're allowed to fly, all that they are pushing, all they're allowing to go on. The rhetoric that is going on with the Mr. Farrakhan crowd, and all the underlying belly of all the BLM and all those kinds of movements, all those white man bad, systematic racism, systematic oppression, all those kinds of things, push, African Americans to have ideologies that, make them violence towards whites and Asians. And, Asians are the easier target right now. So that is actually the reality. When you look at the videos online of the Asian violence, it's always perpetrated by an African American, but the media doesn't show it. But whenever a cop shoots somebody that happens to be African American, in spite of the hundreds of white people that white cop has shot, they ignore that. They want to focus and push for the media. When the African American is the one who perpetrates the violence, they don't talk about race. They ignore it, but they only bring up race when it makes the white person, white people look bad. So, this video is kind of feeding into that and pushing that. Because, okay, you're pushing this. Who are you talking to? I guess someone can say that he's not blaming it on white people, but who are you? Whose fault is this? This violence towards the Asian Americans, where is it coming from? Whose fault is it? And he's got Wyclef, an African American, or from Haiti, to be in this video, kind of like creating a camaraderie of victimhood, between Asians and African Americans. But that is not so. The violence committed against Asian Americans is perpetrated primarily by African Americans. So you're not dealing with it. You're not addressing it to say hypocrisy, and you're not trying to solve the problem, because the problem is not from white people or any so-called systematic racism.
Stop the hatred.
Imagine that.
Stop the hatred. What if we took a little time out of our day? Stop the hatred.
Could it be?
Stop the hatred.
Rain love, honey.
He cold like Antarctica. It don't matter if you black and white. Says the man in the mirror. The squad's facing.
It's amazing that Wyclef is rapping also. I thought he would just sing the chorus and let Jim do his thing. But, I like that line. It don't matter if you're black or white. Of course, what I feel about that term black, and, because I've said it, just research the origins of that word. That is a negative word, is a slur, and you only have to open up the dictionary and look at also the meaning of the word black at the time when a particular race of people were called black. What was the intention and why were they called black? It was called that as a form of branding them something that is degrading and negative. Black represents darkness. It represents evil. It represents unwanted. That is what black represents. That is what it is. That is what it means. It's an English word. It's not an African word. It is not a word that belongs to any one African tribe. So the Africans, your ancestors were never called black. They never called themselves black. It was specifically the specific white men who were trying to colonize you and making many of you slaves at that time, who chose that word black for a reason. And that hence the introduction of white. That's why white is not a negative slur. White represents purity. It represents that which is beautiful. It represents that which is bright. It represents light. You can look it up, but black represents negativity. And when you look at the skin colors of people, there's really nobody who is black, and there's really nobody who is white. So-called white people are not, they are not white. Their color is more of cream and yellow, light, so, and African Americans or Africans, their color is more of chocolate, so these are facts.
The terror. I'm talking mother, father, sister, brother, grandma, and grandpapa, all doomed cause of skin color. Paranoid like my mind playing tricks on this ghetto boy, so I gotta scream for my mama like I'm George Floyd. Now I'm all in linen like John Imagining, but he ain't give peace.
Giving George Floyd props, I don't like it, because George Floyd was a career criminal. There are people who say he does not deserve to die the way he died, but how did he die? He died because of the numerous drugs in his system. That is what killed him. It is not the knee on the neck. People can put knees on people's necks all day long and they will not die. We have seen worse things happen in boxing rings. We have seen worse things happen in, street fights and, Dana White's whatever thing he has going on with his fight club there. We've seen all kinds of things. It was the drugs in his system, and he had been complaining about breathing, even before he was on the ground. So what makes you think the cop will believe him? Cops face all kinds of things, and cops face all kinds of people telling lies. What should be addressed is the policing system and how the police address people and apprehend criminals, especially when they know the criminal is high on drugs. The whole thing should have been treated differently. Not that they are white George Floyds. You can, for platforms where you won't see much censorship, they have removed such videos. But during that period, they have been white George Floyds who have been killed or directly by the police, unlike the George Floyd case, or basically by the police manhandling people, and in some cases it was an African American cop doing it to a white citizen, and which got the white citizen killed, but that did not get any media coverage or anything like that. So these are issues that need to be addressed. This is a fact. The George Floyd is no hero, and he's not somebody to be admired. I strongly agree with what Candace Owens says. African Americans and Africans, they like to make heroes of the worst in their community. You don't see the Chinese, the Russians, or white people make heroes of the criminals elements. Look at for a lot of African Americans, the greatest icons for them are Tupac and Biggie. Those are not good heroes. When you look at a white guy, he has Elon Musk, who is building, who has built, electric cars with Tesla, rockets with his SpaceX thing or whatever, and those different things. When you have somebody who, as a kid, they are growing up, they are looking up to Orville Wilburite, and Einstein and other things. Those are the kind of people they admire, and on the African American side, their heroes are Tupac, who wrote Thug Life on his chest and who died because of his devotion to being a thug. Or Biggie, who died also for a similar thing, basically for his thuggish behavior and the raps that he said, and if Biggie was making positive raps or positive music, he would still be alive. And he would be rich and, be able to have seen his kids grow up. That is a fact. But you see, these are the kind of people that African Americans have been programmed to make heroes, not the Ben Carsons. Ben Carsons is admired more among Asians than African Americans. It is sad. And especially now, thanks to what the media has done to his name and his image, trying to demonize him. It's like, oh, yeah, African American, so you have to have Democrat views, or you have to have this view, or otherwise you are racist, you are weird and all of that, So let's just keep listening.
Chance he took 8 lives with him. Where the love goes still unanswered. Politicians, they be flipping Gabby Douglas. Device so they could conquer, then they cheat our ancestors. Come together like the Beatles remastered. What if we went a little bit out of our way to stop danger?
Imagine that.
Stop danger. What if we went? What if we took a little time out of our day to stop the hatred?
Could it be? It's new footage every other day, every bit of it hard to watch. I'm talking to my son, he's 8, listen to your pops. I said don't fall for the bait. The actions of a few don't reflect the nature of an entire race. Maybe the past is full of lessons, but we missed it.
That is very powerful. The actions of a few don't represent the actions of an entire race, that's very powerful.
Indeed, tension has existed between the two communities, but here's a fact, beyond colors, we're human.
I like what he did. The tensions exist between the two communities, and then he puts a Black Lives Matter, this thing in the background. When he said that tension has exist between the two communities, and he put the Black Lives Matter this thing here, and then over here, Stop Asian Hate in the background. In the artwork in the background, which is genius. So he's kind of hinting at the African Americans actually perpetuating, violence against Asians. So that is smart and that is genius, So he didn't go full force with it, but at least he still put it there. So much respect. So, I have to take back much of what I said, and give him props, give him props, if that is what he's really intending to do, which I think that is what he's doing, so that's smart. It's important that love, wins, and everybody loves each other, and we remember that the actions of a few do not represent the entire race. We can't do that, because that now is pushing forth racing. You cannot become the monster you're trying to destroy and think that you are heading in the right direction.
On colors, we're humans, not just yellow or black like Chris Rock. I ain't liberal or conservative inside. I just know the enemy would love to further the divide. Media don't care how the story is told. They're more concerned with how the story is sold. Preconceived notions make it harder to see. Together there's much power. Rush hour, look at Carter and Lee. Hopefully through dialogue we'll start to agree. More light for you doesn't make the world darker for me.
That's powerful. More light for you doesn't make the world darker for me, and that is a concept that people need to look at. And you could also look at it as, a lot of people want to make white people, they want to put white people down, they want to replace images of white heroes, white any image of a white person being in a bright light. They want to remove it and replace it with an African American image. You can see that with all the race swapping in movies and the pulling down of statues. When they want to put out statues of white icons and say that, oh, at one time they owned slaves, or they are related to somebody who one time owned slaves, the same can be said of a lot of African icons. If you want to destroy a statue of a general, of a white general in America, you should also go to Africa, and destroy a lot of their statues, because a lot of their heroes and a lot of their kings imprisoned and killed and slaughtered way more Africans than any white person ever did, and that is a fact. So you have to put down their statues too. You have to destroy their statues too. It can't be one-sided. And this idea that, for there to be equity, this so-called strive for equity, let us take away the wealth from white people and redistribute it to the people of this other race and all that. That's idea of, this person has to follow, this person has to be pulled down for me to advance. That is crazy, and that is going to lead to a lot of craziness. This is a sensitive topic that MC Jean and Wyclef have decided to deal with. I agree with most of what he said, but there are certain things that were not said and certain things that could be misconstrued, so at the end of the day, a great job done. I like that he addressed it, he talked about it, and he spoke his heart, and he puts love as the message, at the forefront as the solution, and that is very right. And powerful bars also.
What's on your heart right now? Say it.
Stop the hatred!
Say it one more time, Chance.
Stop the hatred!
So at the end of it all, this is a very powerful song. Don't let hate crimes go unreported. To report a hate crime, go to blah blah blah, stop the hatred. This is a nice concept and a good concept. It's best for love to prevail, and to be pushed out there. Great song. And I don't think, and there have been a song from MC Jane for a while now, but nice to know that he came out with this. That being said, If you are listening to this and you've not given your life to Christ, go to Alfred.vip, click on the salvation prayer link in the main menu. When you do that, the page will come out that has a prayer of salvation. Say that prayer and give your life to Christ. Also know there's a salvation prayer link in the description below. Thank you and God bless you.